92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this evening, Governor Wike expected to swear in elected local government chairman this week. Stakeholders react as police justify use of tear gas on Democracy Day protesters. Attacks by gunmen in Plateau State leave 14 people dead. PDP governors criticize borrowing by present administration. On the foreign scene, Canada truck attack suspect charged with terrorism. I am Constance Mega. Governor Nyesom Wike is expected to swear in the elected 23 local government council chairmen this week. Well, this is as the tenure of the present council chairman expires. About 9 out of the 23 outgoing council chairmen are returning to office after they were re-elected during the April 17 council elections. Moving on now, schools, public offices and banks remained closed in Port Harcourt today following the public holiday declared by the federal government to mark Democracy Day. When most major roads in the River State capital has free flow of traffic, normal work activities is expected to resume tomorrow. Democracy Day was marked on June 12, being a Saturday. And away from that, stakeholders have been speaking on the use of tear gas by the police to disperse protesters on Democracy Day. The police spokesman, Frank Mba, said the actions of officers were in line with international best practices of dispersing violent protests, as the use of tear gas was an isolated case in Abuja where protesters turned violent. But the National President of Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, Dr. Osage Obayuwana, told correspondent Soibi Oruwari that the current administration has witnessed more human rights abuses than expected.
You can see how widespread the protest was on, the insecurity situation remains, the poverty situation remains, with what happened on Saturday, rather than abating abuse of human rights is on the rise. People cannot even protest peacefully anymore. And for Mr. President to say that he is going to deal with people in the language that they understand is a threat. So rough times await the Nigerian people in the hands of a government like that of Buhari. And government is becoming more and more intolerant and is resorting to threatening the people, and it's unprecedented.
Well, Dr. Obayuwana said he expected the government to charge the police officers for criminal offences, having failed to provide security for the protesters.
The inconsistency of the Buhari government is getting to be very shameful. What we saw on Saturday was a total abdication of that responsibility on the part of the police, on the order of saying, we don't want hoodlums to hijack it. June 12 now turned to be the date when Nigerians could not express themselves. So it was a very sad day in the history of Nigeria, a day that has not done credit to the terrible record of the Buhari government in the 6 years of being in office.
Well, the first national vice chairman of Nigerian Bar Association, Joy Aikpokpo Martins, also spoke on this.
Ordinarily, the law does not require you to give notice of protest when you can protest. However, notice was well given that June 12 there are going to be protests around Nigeria. So the police were put on notice to ensure that law and order is kept. From the visual scene, the protesters who came out conducted themselves properly. So there was no reason whatsoever to disperse them or shoot tear gas or live bullets if any was shot. Trying to stop protests is inimical to democratic principles and values. What they are supposed to do is to ensure the security, not to shoot at protesters.
Meanwhile, policy analyst Tija Bulletin Akban says the June 12 protest is another evidence that there is an urgent need for the federal government to review its policies on governance.
Citizens are going through economic adversity, citizens are going through police brutality, citizens are going through all sorts of insecurity and so on, and you are saying that they should not protest. That's to say, a child is going through pain and you are saying the child should not cry. That is unconscionable. It is not something anyone should expect from a free and democratic society. Look at all the basic indices of knowing that the society is progressing. What
In the meantime, our political sociologist Steve Wardu has suggested that a referendum or proper dialogue be held to resolve the underlying issues of conflicts across the country.
Conflicts of those nature, however it has manifested either in separatist movements or in people staging agitations and protests, is an indication of failed states. Either we allow for a referendum for those who are asking for separation, or the government allows an open democratic conference, a conference of different stakeholders that will come together and follow due process of dialogue in order to arrive at a consensus.
Well, Dr. Wardu, a senior lecturer at the University of Port Harcourt, however, spoke against suppressing demonstrators, as was seen on Democracy Day on Saturday.
Protest of any form is politics by another means. It's a democratic expression of people's views or people's demand on the system that is supposed to serve collective interest. When people are excluded, marginalized, they have the right to protest. Protest is a genuine expression of political demands. Protest should not be seen as something to be suppressed. In fact, protest should be encouraged so that the grievances of people are properly articulated.
Moving on now, about 70 civil society organizations have called on the federal government to reverse the Twitter ban and withdraw the threat to prosecute anyone using the app. The groups, in a statement jointly signed today, condemned the action of the federal government, describing it as unlawful. While they also expressed concern over the escalating crackdown on human rights by the federal government, particularly the right to freedom of expression, access to information, and media freedom. Two separate attacks by gunmen in Plateau State have left 14 people dead. A state lawmaker from Gwatsun confirmed the incident. Well, it was learned that while 12 people were killed in Sabonlayi village, just south local government area, 2 other persons were killed in Zogo village in Basa local government area. The villagers said the attacks happened last night while the people were sleeping. Still ahead, PDP governors criticized borrowing by present administration. Stay tuned.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's World Blood Donor Day today, and a professor of hematology, Kaladada Korubo, says the low level of blood donation is responsible for blood racketeering and high price in sale of blood. Professor Korubo told our correspondent that only 4% of donated blood come from voluntary donors.
It is unfortunate that in our country, the statistics show that less than 5%, only about 4% of our blood donations come from voluntary blood donors. And if we are able to get more voluntary blood donors, then we'll be able to stop the racketeering that goes with blood donation. We'll be able to stop commercial blood donation. We'll be able to stop people paying exorbitant prices for blood donation.
Well, some voluntary blood donors in Port Harcourt also spoke to our correspondent.
I've donated blood for like 20 times, so I've decided to go into voluntary blood donation to help people who may not even be able to buy this blood.
I've been one since 2019. Growing up, I had 2 siblings with sickle cell anemia, and I decided to be one of those people who can be there for those people who are not as privileged as I was growing up, and my siblings too. So
I've been a blood donor since 2011. I see myself being a blood donor as a divine call in saving lives, in ensuring that people don't die because of lack of blood.
Well, the World Blood Donor Day is marked every June 14. The theme for this year is Give Blood and Keep the World Beating. In business, PDP today raised an alarm over the rate at which the APC is borrowing money to fund projects in the country. Well, this formed part of the resolutions reached at the end of the PDP Governors Forum held in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State capital. A communique issued at the end of the meeting said money should only be borrowed for productive purposes, as Nigeria's current debt of over 36 trillion naira is becoming clearly unsustainable. Well, it said the borrowing spree of the APC administration, if unchecked, will lead Nigeria into avoidable bankruptcy. In entertainment, fashion designer Yomi Casual has been hospitalized after surviving a ghastly motor accident. Well, he shared photos of himself in the hospital as well as photo of his damaged SUV. And in sports, Cristiano Ronaldo says he's looking forward to beginning Euro 2020 against Hungary. But this is as he prepares to lead defending champions Portugal in their search for a repeat triumph. At 36, Ronaldo is set to take the field in front of 68,000 fans in the Hungarian capital tomorrow in what should be Portugal's simplest match in a tough Group F alongside Germany and world champions France.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
Canada's Attorney General has approved terror charges against a man accused of killing 4 members of a Muslim family with his vehicle in London, Ontario. Well, London police have said that Nathaniel Veltman, who is 20 years old, intentionally targeted the family because of their faith, running them over in a premeditated attack. Well, Mr. Veltman also faces 4 first-degree murder charges and 1 attempted murder charge, while 3 generations of the Afzal family were killed, leaving just 1 survivor. Well, on the news this evening, you heard Governor Nyesom Wike is expected to swear in the elected local government chairman this week. Stakeholders have reacted as police justify use of tear gas on Democracy Day protesters. Attacks by gunmen in Plateau State have left 14 people dead. PDP governors have criticized the borrowing by the present administration. And on the foreign scene, the Canada truck attack suspect has been charged with terrorism. The news was edited by Chioma Ezenwafo. Contact our newsroom on 0818-900-0017. Cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this evening. I am Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening.